Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa for your daily continental roundup here on France 24. I'm Jean-Emile Jamin. Coming up on the show, 20 people are arrested in Uganda, suspected of collaborating with the notorious militia group blamed for last week's tragic and deadly school attack. Then a phone application is saving lives in Gabon, linking potential blood donors to those who need an urgent transfusion. And as Senegalese Muslims prepare for the religious feast of Tabaski, sheep farmers who provide the traditional sacrifice are set to lose out as fearful customers stay away from celebrations. Thanks for joining us. Authorities in Uganda say that 20 people have been detained for questioning about their possible role in last week's school massacre that left scores of students dead. 42 people were hacked to death, shot and burned beyond recognition by a group of Islamic State-linked fighters known as the Allied Democratic Forces. Our regional correspondent Bastien Renouy brings us the details.
3 persons have been arrested and are currently interrogated by the police, according to the commissioner of Kasese, the area where the attack took place. It's impossible to know if they are Congolese or Ugandans, but more details will come in due time, according to the commissioner. What we know so far is that the attack took place at 11:30 on Friday night, that 5 men attacked the school, killing several children with machetes and guns before detonating a bomb, killing many more. Then they escaped in a neighboring forest, the Virunga forest in DRC, abducting several children. It's impossible to know how many of them are missing at the moment, but as many as 16 of them could be missing. The Ugandan army is looking for them in the forest. They are hunting for these men, but it's a very difficult work because it's a very dense forest and it's very easy for them to hide inside. Who are the attackers? According to the Ugandan government, they could be members of the ADF, the Allied Democratic Forces. It's a terrorist organization linked to the Islamic State. They are based in DRC, in North Kivu, and they've been fighting against the government of Yoweri Museveni, the president of Uganda, since the 90s. Currently, they're fighting both the Ugandan and the Congolese armies, and they're also targeting civilians. At least 3,000 civilians have been killed during the past years in DRC only. And as the hunt for these men continues, the burials have started in Uganda, but many families are still waiting to know if their children have been abducted or if they have been burnt beyond recognition during the bomb attack. So the police is currently conducting DNA tests, and these families are waiting for the result to know if they can bury their children or if they still have to wait for them to be released.
Vote counting is still underway in Mali after Sunday, where the country's militia junta held a referendum on a new constitution. The draft introduces significant amendments, including a reinforcement of the president's powers, institutional reforms, and the recognition of traditional authorities. Some 8.4 million citizens were eligible to vote in this latest referendum, with independent observers reporting that only a few voting issues took place. However, the prevalence of jihadist attacks has posed a significant concern, leading to the exclusion of certain regions from the voting process. In a visit to Tunis on Monday, French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin said France will offer close to 26 million euros to help stop migrants crossing the Mediterranean. The money will pay for equipment and training and is in addition to a much larger EU package announced earlier this month. In response, Tunisian President Kais Saied has said his country will not be a border guard for Europe, but he also announced a crackdown in February on sub-Saharan African migrants living in the country. 5 years after its launch, the Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement was estimated to increase trading between African nations to more than 80%. But it's yet to bring any significant changes. African and Caribbean leaders are meeting in Accra, Ghana from today to discuss the red tape that stands in the way of the project. To summarize this year's Afri-Exim Bank talks, here's France 24's Justice Baidou.
The African Continental Free Trade Agreement is expected to boost income levels on the continent by up to $450 billion over the next 10 years. Yet its implementation has been rather slow. 5 years after coming into force, not all countries on the continent have ratified it. At this meeting celebrating 30 years of the African Export and Import Bank, Afri-Exim. Many speakers have been lamenting the teething problems that still confront people who want to create businesses and jobs across countries in Africa. Nigerian business mogul Aliko Dangote, who is also Africa's richest man, who's recently opened the continent's largest oil refinery, has been recounting his own personal experience traveling across the continent trying to establish businesses in different countries.
The African continent is one of the continents that I think it is a hidden story. It is a story that I believe when you have faith, you invest, you will make quite a lot of money. If I have to get a visa to get into country A as an African, and now we go with a British guy who, or maybe a Nigerian, it has happened to me, a Nigerian holding British passport, he was allowed in, and arguing, debating about my visa. And I'm the one, and I'm the one with the money.
The AFCTA Secretariat itself has been here, and they too have been speaking. According to them, a lot of progress has been made. They speak, for example, about a unique Africa-wide payment system that is currently in the offing. They speak also about a transit scheme that they are putting in place that should hopefully make travel and the movement of goods across borders easier within the continent. They do not say when these would eventually come into force, but many analysts and watchers would hope that this would be soon rather than later.
That's Justice Baidu coming to us from Accra, Ghana. In Gabon, an app called Nchina helps patients find blood donors. Designed by a young app developer, Alvin Yeno, the platform connects blood donors to those who need to transfusion blood. They have created a community for the exchange of blood after a 1-year trial period, and the app has registered about 4,000 subscribers. It's available on smartphone stores, primarily in Gabon's capital, Libreville. Promoters hope to make the app available all over the country. Take a listen.
Nchina is a free app created by Alvin to build up a community of volunteer blood donors in Gabon. Nchina, which means blood, is a name derived from the local Omenye language, which was a brainchild of the developers who had a personal interest.
Nchina was born from a place of helplessness that hit my family when we needed blood donors urgently to save a relative's life, and we were waiting for a blood transfusion.
In order to set up this app, Alvin got financial support worth 10 million francs CFA, a little over 15,000 euros. The money came from a foundation created by Nigerian billionaire Tony Elumelu. 1 year after its launch, Nchina now has 4,000 subscribers.
What I find really great is how quick it is. Because usually when I come to donate blood, I've noticed that some people are desperate. They don't know where to go to find blood donors. But with this app, it's basically instant.
According to the World Health Organization, every 2 seconds someone in the world needs a blood transfusion. In Gabon, the National Center for Blood Transfusion registers at least 200 donors each day. Though these numbers are encouraging, demand is much higher than supply.
Using social media is also a way of connecting with people, a way of bringing them into the blood bank. We encourage healthy people to become regular donors.
According to authorities, Gabon's National Blood Transfusion Center receives 40 to 50 donations each day and collects up to 25,000 blood bags per year. With the help of the app, this number is on the rise.
And finally, Senegal is preparing for its most important religious celebration of the year, Tabaski. During this Muslim festival, it's customary to sacrifice a sheep, but for sheep farmers in particular, the build-up this year has been more turbulent than usual. And that's after deadly clashes nationwide when opposition leader Ousmane Sonko was handed a 2-year prison sentence. Sarah Sako, Aminatou Diallo and Sam Bradpiece explore the story.
With just days to go until Tabaski, this small fishing port in Dakar has been transformed into a sheep pen. Roulam is selling high-end breeds like Ladoum and Bali Balis. This prize specimen cost nearly €3,000. This year, though, there are fewer clients than normal.
After the political unrest, we have struggled to sell our sheep. During the same period last year, we had already sold 300 sheep. This year, people seem to be scared, but we hope that people will come out to buy eventually.
Even smaller, cheaper breeds like those at this stand are not getting sold. These sheep are kept by an organization of young men from the neighborhood who are counting on sales to make ends meet and to help out their families. Mawo is desperate for the political crisis gripping Senegal to draw to a close.
The money we earn from this is used to buy medicine, to prepare meals for big occasions, or to fix our wooden boats when they have issues. We want peace to return. Macky Sall should make concessions. We want Ousmane Sonko to make concessions too. The young people in this country need to calm down and realise that our future cannot be found in violence.
This happy customer just purchased a sheep for close to €300. He has just one message ahead of the upcoming festival.
Have a great Tabaski celebration with lots of calmness. See your friends and ask forgiveness from God.
Tabaski is the most celebrated religious occasion in Senegal and many other countries in West Africa.
And a happy Tabaski to all those celebrating. That's all the African news we have for now, but there is more coming up here on France 24.
France 24, your economy explained. Liberté, égalité, actualité.